battery's gonna...
Oh, we're live.
I got 20%.
20%.
Yeah, 20% battery.
You always have like no battery.
I've been practicing my Spanish. Mi español.
Well, you have to like charge your phone while doing that, or charge your phone at night.
I did charge my phone last night.
How do you go through so much battery?
Because I was sitting at the mechanic's office for 2 hours on my
Jenny
phone.
B, what's happening? What's going on? Good afternoon, I guess technically.
Yeah.
Ava, what's happening? Jackie, what's good? What's happening? Kim, how are you? What's good? Terry, what's happening from New Jersey? What's happening from Orlando? Binky, hello. Once again, Binky, you weren't the first one here.
Way to rub it in.
Jenny just booked a flight to MCO in September. Woot woot.
Hopefully everything will be open.
I think it'll be fine.
God,
Soren, what's happening?
I can't do this till September.
I think it'll be fine. Canadian Sky, hi from the UK. Hello from Florida. Binky says, I know I'm late. I hit the wrong button. Halloween party on Labor Day. Woot woot. Yes. Halloween party on Labor Day. It's going to be awesome.
Ridiculous.
Right? Isn't that going to be ridiculous?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Well, the reason why you guys are here, the reason why we are here.
MCO airport open. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think.
I'm pretty sure. I wouldn't see why. I haven't gotten anything about that. I heard one of the TSAs tested positive.
Lovely.
Somewhere, I think.
Hello from Zephyr Hills.
Hello. Hello, Donna. So we are here. Sorry, I just got off work. Just got my shower because it's like really hot. It's really hot out. It feels like 98 degrees out right now.
Probably is close.
Is today the first day of spring?
Yesterday was the first day of spring.
What do I know? Happy spring, everybody.
We're all quarantined.
As we're all quarantined. Homes. Yeah, right? Pretty much. Except we go outside sometimes. Walks. I did that little hiking trail not too far from here. It was awesome. Good time. So what I want to get into is I want to talk about once Disney World opens, what we are going to expect. Now, these aren't like 100% like concrete what we talk about. It's just kind of our realistic feelings, you know what I mean, of what we think is going to happen. And I want your guys' opinion too, guys and gals.
Guys and gals.
Yeah, because we're going to break this down into like categories and we're going to discuss it. And then we want to hear from you of what you think as well and talk about it and then keep moving down the chain of what realistically, you know what I mean, we think is going to happen once Disney World reopens. Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
That was the weirdest way to say okay.
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 Okay. Been watching South Park and like Simpsons and like I think both of them kind of mixed together.
Okay.
I've been binge watching The Simpsons on Disney Plus. I'm on season 8 so far, episode 3. Waiting in long queues. Well, we'll talk about it. Let's break this down. So we'll do a category. Lisa will talk. I will talk. Then vice versa. We'll do a category. I'll talk.
The
Lisa.
construction is done. I don't think so.
No construction. No construction. That will be coming to a halt. Because that's
sorry,
that's
I need to
mandated.
drop off. I'm in search of toilet paper.
Right. Exactly.
Oh no.
All right. So what to expect? Number 1, shopping at Disney. Shopping. We're going to really break this down. What do you think is going to happen with the shopping? More specifically, Disney Springs. Do you think it will all be open?
So, right now, Florida has not put on the ban that all non-essential businesses need to close. So, there are currently stores at Disney Springs that could potentially be open if they wanted to. That aren't owned by Disney. So I'm going to go with just like the Disney owned stores because that's controlled by Disney. I feel like they will be open, but I feel like the amount of people they're going to let in is going to be far less than the capacity that the store can hold. Like I almost think like it's going to be kind of like the warehouse, you know, where they like take count as to how many people and then stop the line. I feel like we could potentially see that at Disney Springs.
I would agree. However, my thought is I think not all of Disney Springs will open. Not all of Disney World owned shops will be open. Like, I think World of Disney would remain closed since that is the go to shop at Disney Springs, and that place is always packed. I think that'll remain closed unless someone is outside letting in, like, I don't know, 50 people or less. You know what I mean? I don't know. But I don't know. I don't see it fully opening. You know, I think it's gonna go into parts, like little small section. Okay, let's open like 3 stores or something. Let's just see what
I don't
happens
think
here,
it would be
and then open another
if they're
3.
gonna open in waves. I don't necessarily think it would be smart though to open all the shops in this area. Like, I think they would need to open like 1 or 2 shops in this area, 1 or 2 shops in this area. Because if you open just one section at a time, you're still gonna have a complete gathering of people in one big, like in one small section.
Well, that's true too. What do you guys think?
People say they reckon you're right.
And some say maybe reduced hours. Maybe that's possible
look
too.
at all the stores right now that are still open. They have reduced hours.
Yeah.
So
That's possible. It could be a reduced hour. I could see that. Anything is possible. So I guess any people have anything about shopping before we move on to the next? So we kind of think that reduced hours possible, not all the shops possible.
What about shops in the parks?
Well, I think
I don't know how they.
I think
I don't think all the shops in one park will be open.
I don't think all the big shops will be open. Like in Magic Kingdom, I don't think Emporium will be open, but I think some of the others.
Those like kiosks.
Yeah, the little kiosk ones where you can just fit so many people in and then.
Well, not really in, but
Well,
around.
yeah, around, I should say. You're right, around. And then kind of just be on your way. I don't see Emporium. I don't know if I see Mouse Gears at all opening.
I don't think any of the main ones may open right away.
I don't think so.
Like Island Mercantile, like all the main ones in each park, I could see them.
I don't know. The parks is a little bit tough to decide on that one, but we'll get into the parks as well because what we talk about it when we get to that portion might change the way I feel about the shopping right now inside the parks. So shopping.
Like you script.
Well, yeah, I wanted to make like a list, you know.
So you can't.
Okay, so let's talk about restaurants.
Restaurants.
Disney. Let's go back.
Restaurantes.
Yeah, let's go back to Disney Springs, the parks, restaurants. What do you think about the restaurants? In my opinion, I think the sit-down restaurants will remain closed.
I think the quick service may only be mobile ordering.
Maybe it might just. Yeah, you're right. It could be just a mobile. I could
potentially see the sit-downs opening, but not the whole restaurant.
Maybe certain wings, certain sections.
Yeah.
You know.
Or like even if they have like, let's say the entire restaurant open but not using all the tables. So like
somebody said maybe takeouts.
Yeah.
That's possible.
I'm thinking if the sit-down restaurants are open, even if they have the entire restaurant open, they're not going to use all the tables. So they're going to try to spread people out. So you may have a family sitting at this table, but there could be 2 or 3 tables between that one and another family.
Yeah.
Maybe. Because again, if you close it off by wings, you're still having a large group of people in a small area. I feel like it would make more sense to spread them out around the restaurant.
Yeah, people are saying some places where they live is takeout only.
Everywhere in Florida right now, all
only.
restaurants are closed except for takeout and delivery.
Yeah, takeout and delivery. That's about it. I don't know. If, let's say, Cinderella's Royal Table opens up and does only mass amount of people to control the guests, you know, I see that being even harder and harder to get into. So I don't even know if those big places might even open.
People keep commenting about if people are going to be waiting in long lines and queues, then what's the difference between being in a store? And we are going to get to that.
We'll get to that. And that's a very fair question.
Yeah.
You know, it's things I think about too, you know. My brain just goes a mile a minute. Reduce capacity. That's
Yeah, that's
possible.
what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
reduce capacity in the restaurants, but instead of closing off certain wings, just spread whatever the capacity that they let in, spread them out throughout the restaurant so that they're not all in one section of the restaurant.
Yeah.
My opinion. I
And-
really don't know.
And we really don't know. And that
No one knows at this point.
that's possible. That's possible. Now, what do you think about, Lisa, the resorts and the restaurants in those resorts?
Excuse me.
She's been sitting around all day.
Actually, I haven't.
Well,
Well, I sat at the mechanic for 2 hours. And then I went to Target to pick up some odds and ends, and then I came home.
there you go. So what do you think resorts and the restaurants inside those resorts?
Like, as far as
Oh,
how they're going to...
Yeah,
So, again,
when they open.
I think the hotels will open in stages, but I don't think, like, an entire hotel is going to be open. Again, I think they're going to try to reduce capacity when they first open. So I think going along with that, with the restaurant, I could see the fancy like the hotels that have the sit-down restaurants, I could see those restaurants staying closed. I could see the quick service restaurants remaining open, but maybe doing, like I said, order or earlier mobile ordering or even like delivery to the rooms, kind of like room service.
But then I feel like if they're gonna do that, they have to waive, I don't know.
I think
Delivery charges
honestly,
or something. They would
think-
have
I
to
think
waive.
if they would waive that. I mean,
You would
they're
have to.
already they're going to have to accommodate to guests with how they're going to run things. If we would potentially be correct in what we're saying, I think Disney, to be fair, would have to waive those things because if that's the only way for them to get food.
But-
And I go back to when like Hurricane Irma came by, like they encouraged guests to go to like the local grocery stores to pick up non-perishable food items, but they did, if I remember correctly, people had said that they were doing like room deliveries and they weren't charging for the delivery because nobody was supposed to be outside.
Yeah. I could also see though Disney waiving the fee only because they're a business, being like free delivery or whatever. Yeah,
It's
whatever.
how they're gonna bring in money in the food industry at Disney.
If you spend like $25 or more,
No,
which
I
isn't
could-
hard to do.
I
Disney.
could see them just waiving the fee altogether because they're going to be closed for however long they're going to be closed. They need to make up money, and people are going to be less likely to pay for a meal if they have no other choice but for it to be delivered to their room, and then they have to pay a delivery fee on top of it. I think they'd waive the delivery fee because not as many people then are going to purchase the food.
True.
They're going to find other ways to get food.
Yeah. I actually have to work tomorrow now. Yeah, we've been working.
Oh yeah, and I agree, Amy. I definitely think the
What'd she
parks in
say?
Asia will open before the parks here.
Oh, absolutely.
Because they're coming down off the wave. So
Their peak is
not, well, they're not in the peak anymore. So
because they started actually opening some of the shops in
They
their
did.
like
So-
Disney Spring area.
China's
downtown Disney.
coronavirus started before the beginning of the year. So they've been going through this a lot longer than we have. So it would make more sense. They closed before us. They would open before us because they're seeing a decrease in the cases over in Asia, and we're starting to see an increase because it just recently came over here.
Yeah.
And just like I read that Brazil's now starting to get some cases. So not like there's a Disney in Brazil, but like Brazil's now going to fall after us. So, everything that we're facing now, if Brazil's number of cases continue to rise, they're going to start following our pattern. You're going to see us drop off while they're still climbing, and then they'll drop off eventually. Like, it's just going to be this.
It's going to be
Wave
a wave.
effect.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. So yeah, I pretty much agree with Lisa with the hotels. Certain sections, I don't think the whole hotel will be open. I don't see it. I could be wrong. So that brings us then to, once the hotels open, transportation.
This one I really don't know how.
I don't know how to answer this one because you have the buses.
You have the buses, you have the monorails, you have the gondolas, and
Ferries.
you have the ferries. And although the ferries, you have the open air coming in, are they still going to want to pack in so many people. And the same with the buses. I was reading an article too that people were suspecting that maybe the buses, they won't pack it to the point where people have to stand.
Yeah.
That they're not going to put that many people on. But, again, are we going to do that with the monorails? And how are we going to work with the gondolas? They currently can fit up to 10 people. Are we going to narrow it down to maybe they'll only let one party per gondola? So if you're a party of 2, you get your own gondola. If you're a party of 5, you get your own gondola. I don't know how that's going to work.
That's fair. So you don't mix up your group or whatever.
But somehow
it's possible.
They have to have transportation open if they're going to open the park.
Well, they will, but it's how are we going to figure that out?
How are they going to go about the transportation? Because especially for like Magic Kingdom, those of us that live locally, like the parking lot isn't at Magic Kingdom. It's at the Ticket and Transportation Center.
So we have no choice.
So we still have to take some form of transportation from our car into Magic Kingdom. It's a little different for the locals for any of the other parks because the parking lots are already there. I can just drive my car to Epcot and walk to the entrance.
Yeah.
Or to Hollywood or Animal Kingdom. But Magic Kingdom, we can't. Magic Kingdom doesn't have their own parking lot. So you're still going to have to deal with transportation even as a local if you're going to go to Magic Kingdom. And people staying at the resorts obviously need a way to get from the hotel to the park.
So I think maybe all transportation will be open. It will just be limited capacity. I think you're right. The buses will be filled, but no one will be standing.
And maybe they won't fill it all the way either.
They may not.
Maybe,
I don't know.
But I don't think on the buses or the monorails, however they do it, I don't think that they're going to fill it to the point where people have to stand. People may still decide to stand, but I'm saying where they have to stand, I don't think that they're going to fill it to that point. Mm-hmm. I'm curious to
So then would you say for the monorail, they're going to have each cast member at each door?
That's a lot of cast members, though, to have to man a monorail.
Or, one per 3 doors, just keep walking down.
And I think this is going to be the hardest thing. We all have it ingrained in our minds. Fill in all the available space in front of you. And I don't think that's going to be the case anymore. So instead of filling in all the available space in front of you, and maybe instead of having a cast member at each door, when you, almost like when you're in line for a ride and you tell them how many and they tell you what row to go to, maybe they'll almost have taped sections with a number that they'll say, okay, you're going to go to this section.
That's possible.
Kind of like what they do with like the Hogwarts Express at Universal. It's a ride, but each car can only fit so many, so they're counting how many people are in each section. Maybe that's what they'll do for the monorail.
Maybe Disney will try to figure out, well, how many they do that on the train, so maybe we have to, I wonder how Universal's doing this. So that's actually interesting. I think I could definitely see that. I could see that.
I think the ferry boat's going to be the one that I'm kind of most anxious about because the ferry boat doesn't really have seats. You have your random benches, but it's, people stand on it. How many people are they going to allow on the ferry boat? Yes, there's open air. But if you're taking like the ferry boat from Epcot, let's say, to one of the boardwalk hotels or from Epcot to Hollywood, like there's only a small section that's outside. The rest is inside. So how are they going to man, or are they not going to run that boat? I could see that boat system not running. I could see the ferry boats from Port Orleans, both resorts for Port Orleans going to each other and to Disney Springs. I could see that not running.
Yeah, maybe those smaller boats, maybe you're right, won't go.
Maybe they'll hold off on that. I don't know.
The transportation is what I'm really curious about the most, I think. So let's get off of transportation. I think this was kind of stupid that I wrote this down, but as I was thinking about it, I was like, well, you never know. Do you think theme parks, they'll limit the capacity inside the park?
So it's interesting that you bring this up. So last night, an article came up on my Facebook newsfeed, and it was someone else that was writing about, what to kind of expect when Disney reopens. And they had a bunch of opinions in mind in this. And one of, I guess, the rumors they heard was, is Disney going to open it in waves where they'll let a certain group of people in? Let's say if the park opens at 8. They'll let so many people in at 8, and then the next wave will be allowed in at 8:30, and so on and so forth. But I don't know how that's going to work, especially with some of these more popular rides like Flight of Passage and Rise of the Resistance. if you're not in that first wave, you're going to get really frustrated by the time you get in there, even though you might have been there before the park opened. You know, how are they going to do that? Or are they just going, I think instead of waves, I think if anything, maybe reduced park hours. So I don't think that they're going to be open as long as they are right now.
So would you say they probably, if
and
anything,
limit capacity?
if anything, would we probably agree that they would stick to the off-season hours, which are like what, 8 a.m. and then they close by 9?
8 or 9. I could even see them closing maybe 6 or 7. And I think because, well, let's just look at Magic Kingdom. Magic Kingdom can pack in like 70,000 people in a day. I don't think they're going to allow 70,000 people in. But again, once you're in the park, how are you going to stop people from gathering in large groups? I don't think they're going to do parades right away.
Well, we'll get into that.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
I'll stop my opinion or my thought.
We'll get into that because actually that goes into the next
See,
part.
okay, I can talk. So
Because this one's about rides and special events or fireworks, you know, anything that goes special into the park.
Jarrett had a good point too, or maybe there's going to be certain days for pass holders and certain days for ticket holders, because especially pass holders, you know, we're already currently paying for passes that we can't use right now. And yes, they're going to give us however many days the park is closed tacked on to when our annual pass is supposed to end. But I think, especially, I'm going to talk for myself right now, you know, if they say, I know it's not going to open tomorrow, but let's say, you know, we're at a certain stage, the coronavirus is kind of like dying off. Hey, Disney's going to open tomorrow and I'm off work and I've been waiting for this day and you're going to now tell me as a pass holder I can't go.
I think it's going to cause too many problems.
I think it's going to cause too many problems. But again, how are they going to do that with ticket holders that, I think when the park first opens, I think it's still going to be more of a locals park because
I think
you're
fear.
not, well, that, but you need
still think fear.
You also need to allow time for people to plan for their vacations to come here.
Well, see, that's interesting because Disney is already almost like pretty much having you plan. Right now, currently, it's not, they have a deal going on. Right? This is crazy to me. They have a deal going on right now. It's not a great deal. It really isn't, but it's a deal nonetheless. They have 20% off of resorts from April 19th to July 9th, I think. Like 20% off. So you get a good deal on your deluxe. There's like no real deal with the 20% off on your moderate. And the values, you save like $10, $15 a night. Yeah. You know? I don't know. That's interesting. But let's go into like the rides, the fireworks, the specialty stuff, the special ticketed events, you know, the after hours. I don't think there'll be any after hours. I don't think, in my opinion.
Can I just respond to someone? Apparently, they're now talking about masks. Can I just say you do not need the, what is it, N59, N51?
N95.
N95. You don't need that mask. The CDC says you just need like the surgical type of mask. Granted, though, if you're at the hospital, we are wearing N95 masks. But
in my department, I'm not allowed to wear a mask.
Well, you're in a different department. But anyway, sorry. Going back to... Okay. So what I was going to say earlier in regards to fireworks, parades, and all that, I think when the parks first opened to try to prevent large gatherings in a small area, I don't think they're going to do fireworks right away.
No, you can guarantee no fireworks.
I don't think they're going to do parades right away, which is kind of a weird feeling to think like you're closing the night at one of the parks and you're not going to see a nighttime spectacular. But those nighttime spectaculars and those parades bring in large groups of people into a small area. I don't see them doing it right away. I also see character meet and greets as only being masked characters. I don't think the little kids are going to be able to meet the princesses because they're going to want to try to protect their cast members. And so at least with Mickey and Minnie and Goofy and Donald and characters like that, they're in this full costume. So that itself could potentially protect them from anything going on. And again, I don't think Disney or Universal or any of the theme parks are going to open until Florida pretty much deems that the state is safe. So, you know, I don't see Disney World opening while the rest of Florida is still closed off.
No.
You know?
Somebody said on here while you were talking that after hours doesn't hold a lot of people, so why not? I agree. I would say after hours would probably remain open only if Disney sells X amount of tickets and don't oversell
Yeah,
events.
because lately they've been overselling events, so they really need to,
If they're going to do that,
at least when they first
cap it.
open, they need to be very mindful of how many tickets they allot per night, because
They're going to have to cap it, or that's just pretty much irresponsible, I think.
Yeah.
At this point, that would be
well, and
irresponsible
even before
of them.
this whole thing came down, when you're paying extra to go to those events, you expect to be able to do a lot more than what you could do during the regular park day. And before this all came about, they were overselling these events that you felt like you just spent extra money to still be in the long line that you would have waited in during the regular park hours.
True. So with that, I want to say rides. Do you think all the rides are going to be open? I don't. I don't think all the rides will be open.
I'm sorry, I keep going back to this article because I read it, so it's like everything's still fresh in my memory. The person that wrote the article, again, was taking guesses as we are now. And they were saying that, one, I think you're right. I don't think all the rides are going to be open. I don't think every single ride will be open. But I do think that the ones that are open, I wonder if they are going to go about it as like the virtual queue system, so that you're not standing in line for an hour and a half with all these people. Or are they going to try to break it up kind of like a fast pass where you're given a time slot when you need to come back? But again, we still run into the issue that once it's your time, you're still going to be in a line, not as long as you would if you were just waiting in a standby, but you're still going to be in a line with a decent amount of people. And how are they going to police the distance between people? But then I keep going back to the thought of too is, once all this quarantine is lifted, which means that things are safe, are we going to necessarily have to worry so much about how close we're standing to people? We never care. I don't want to say we never cared, but we were never so consumed with the worry before this. You could have been standing in line next to someone who had a flu, or, well, hopefully they weren't at the park if they had a flu, but like a cold or something, and you didn't worry as much about it. So when this whole quarantine thing comes up, are we going to need to be in this state of worry? I think we will be, just because it's just going to be in our mind. But like, are we actually going to potentially be safe where we don't have to worry about it? And that's what I'm thinking is, are they really going to have to police all this stuff if, the country is safe, we're back to back to normal times, so to speak?
Oh, we're not going back to normal times.
We're not going back to normal.
No. But yeah, I agree. Not all the rides will be open. I think your main attractions will. It'll be possibly a virtual queue, like you said, or I don't know. And I think with that as well, see, that's a little hard. I don't know if it'll be a virtual queue. I could see it going virtual queue for a lot of them. Or maybe I go back to, do you think they would roll out, just for the time being, the old ticket system?
The old fast pass.
The old fast pass, grab a ticket physically and no standby.
You just have to go get your ticket with your. But I think that goes along with like the virtual queue. When you get into a virtual queue, it's pretty much a fast pass. You're being told what time you can come back.
Yeah, I don't know. Either way, one of those will happen. In the queue, I can see them saying, doing the little clicker, maybe let 25 people into the queue, and then maybe like 3 minutes go by. Okay, so the next 25, to give that space. I don't know. That could be. So rides and queues we went over. Lately, when they were announced that they were closing, they brought in the hands washing stations and the sanitizing. Think they're going to keep them? I think so. I think they're going to keep them. I even think they will keep them even after it's clear.
Oh yeah.
I think it's just good hygiene and just keep them out.
And you have to think too, like, even before they implemented all of those things, like, how many times were we at the parks that like after a while, like your hands just felt grimy that we went into the bathroom strictly just to go wash our hands? Like, it'd just be nice to not have to wait in line to go into the bathroom to do that. Just have all these hand washing stations.
I think they'll stay. I think they'll stay. Even after the fact, I think they'll stay too.
But again, I still go back to you said we're not going to go back to normal times, but I think we're going to get back to a time where we can go back and like
Oh, we will.
Hug our friends and our family and not have to worry that we're passing something to them.
It's gonna be a long while, I think, because even when it's done, I think people are still gonna be fear for a bit.
I think it's gonna be more of the fear, but I'm talking about fear versus the reality.
No, I
if
understand.
We're seeing no more cases of corona and it's died off, everyone that was sick has gotten better and overcame it, like, do we need to? I think you're right. I think the fear is going to be there because we're going to have been quarantined for so long. It's going to be weird being out and about around large groups of people.
It'll be like being a newborn.
But in reality, am I going to have to worry about it? Or is it going to go back to the way it was where like you have a cold, I may get it, I may not. It's not going to necessarily kill. I don't
know. Next I want to talk about discounts. Now, I already mentioned the discounts that are happening right now, the 20% off hotel rooms, resorts from April 19th to July 9th. Do you think any other discounts to entice people in? Well, what about a average day ticket price?
Well, that's what I said. I saw a comment earlier that said they better give discounts, especially if our opinions are right, if an entire park isn't going to be open. Or if not all the rides are going to be open, why should you have to pay a full price ticket?
But I think Disney would probably just lower it just to be like, hey, come back.
Yeah, so...
It wouldn't be a long-term thing, but I could see them...
Well, I could see regardless of whether they open the park in its entirety, they're going to lower those prices to draw people back in. But I do think if they're not going to open a park in its entirety, they're going to have some rides closed or whatnot, or, reduced hours, I think that they should have lower price tickets for that.
But what about the time when Hollywood Studios was half a park or half a day and those ticket prices were still the same? They didn't discount them.
Yeah, but that park was under construction.
But still,
I'm talking about we're not opening these rides yet because we're still trying to control the amount of cast members we have versus the amount of guests we have. That's a little different because the ride could potentially, it's able to run. Everyone coming down during that time knew that Hollywood Studios was half under construction. Just like right now, Epcot's half under construction. Yeah. People still pay to go, but they are very much aware that this stuff isn't
I think we'll see, because some people said, oh, as soon as it opens, Chapek's going to raise that price. I think you're going to see discounts on that ticket. It's not going to be a long-term thing. It's going to definitely be short-term. You're not going to get it on your annual passes discount. I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, no, because we're still paying for our annual passes.
I think just
their way of
tickets.
The way they're justifying the annual passes, because we still have to pay.
Yeah,
we're paying for March. I don't see the park opening in April. We're going to pay for April and not be able to go. Their way of justifying it is, hey, you guys are going to get all this time tacked on to the end of your year.
Yeah.
So you get like an extended pass.
With that too, what do you guys think about festivals? I mean, I'm going to say Flower and Garden's gone.
Yeah, I mean, if they're going to...
But this could run into Food and Wine.
So...
I did some research real quick before you answer. Normally by this time, Food and Wine would have dates. Normally by this time. No dates. No dates right now for Food and Wine. So we could miss out completely of Food and Wine or half of food. I don't know. Just talking about that.
So I think for Flower and Garden Festival, I think you're right.
It's done.
Let's say even if they open up the beginning of May, the festival's due to end the end of May. Yeah. It's kind of like Universal, right? When they said they closed, they had automatically made the announcement Mardi Gras was gonna be the end of Mardi Gras, because even if they were allowed to open April 1st, Mardi Gras was due to end the first weekend in April. There was no point to keep it open.
Yeah.
I think Flower Garden's over, which stinks because I never got my frushi yet again. Gotta wait till next year again. I think as far as food and wine, I think it really just depends on when these parks reopen. I don't think food and wine was supposed to start like the end of August or beginning of August. Sometime in August. I think even if the park opens, let's say in June, I don't think they're gonna have food and wine start in August. If anything, I think they'll push it back.
I don't know. It's
Or
Disney.
or
You
they're
never
gonna get
know.
rid of it altogether. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Food and wine is definitely a tough one right now. What they're gonna do, because Disney has the means to push things fast to get up and running, but then they might
And maybe
push it.
maybe
I don't
they
know.
will push it because hey, we got to get people back in here.
Yeah.
And
We
people,
lost a lot of money. I need some
and
business.
People, like,
you know,
food and wine is one of the most traveled times, at least to Epcot. Like, I could potentially see them pushing for the food and wine festival.
they're not going to get. I saw Jenny just say they can't get rid of it. They're not going to get rid of it because yes, you're right, Jenny. Food and wine is the cash cow. Everybody goes to that. It's a matter of will it be on opening, when it would normally open, or will they push it back, meaning only half of the time it'll be open, instead of like when we get normally have food and wine 3 months.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty
It
much.
runs from like
We might get maybe like a month and a
mid-August
half.
to the beginning of November.
Yeah, so we might get all that, or could we just see like a month and a half? I don't know. In preparations, or just to make sure,
I don't
because
know.
so many people are going to crowd food and wine.
Or are they going to take it to the extreme and, hey, the parks reopen in June, we're going to start food and wine like the beginning of August.
You don't know.
Just to bring people
I
down
don't
and
know.
get their money back. I don't know.
I don't know. That's pretty much what I have. I mean, there's one other thing I want to talk about. Because it's been circulating around, and I want to get everybody's opinion on this. A realistic opinion. Not just because we want it. An actual real opinion. There's this rumor going around that Disney could open up mid-April, and that's why they have the discounts for April 19th.
Here's my opinion.
Do we really feel Disney is going to open up
Here is my opinion.
mid-April?
Disney is a big corporation, but Walt Disney World is still in the state of Florida. So, if the governor of Florida says that there is to be no more gatherings of more than 10 people until a certain date, Walt Disney World still has to abide by that if they fall into the law. It would be different if they did it like how California first announced it. No more large gatherings, more than 250 people, but this excludes schools and whatever businesses it fell into, because Disneyland didn't fall into the ban, but they followed suit. The only way Disney is going to get around it is if they don't follow into the ban that Florida sets. But if the Florida governor says, absolutely nowhere in Florida is there to be a gathering of more than 10 people or even more than 250 people, Walt Disney World still has to abide by that. They're still in Florida. Now, if Florida's saying that, but California's not, then you could see Disneyland reopening while Walt Disney World remains closed.
That somebody
But
asked about
realistically, I still don't think we're going to see it open mid-April. The schools down here have already been ordered to stay closed till at least April 15th, which is mid-April. But we're going to they're going to start reevaluating that as the time gets closer to that point. Is there the potential that these schools are going to now be out for the remainder of the school year? In which case, could then Disney be out for the remainder of the school year? Like, there's just so many unknowns.
There's, in my opinion, if Disney...
Somebody actually said our governor is live on Facebook right now talking about this all.
Yeah, who cares about that governor? He's a nut job.
Yeah, and someone else mentioned the 8 weeks that the CDC mentioned of no groups larger than 10 for 8 weeks. That actually takes us into mid-May.
Yeah, it
So
does.
if we follow CDC guidelines, that's mid-May at the earliest that we're
And
gonna have this ban lifted, or this recommendation lifted. I don't think Disney's opening in April.
I think, as I stated before, not on this live, but I stated on the previous live, maybe last week, I think it was. I think the earliest, mid-May, the latest, July 4th weekend. Now, if Disney were to open up mid-April, that would be great. Let's be honest, that would be great. But Disney won't open, like Lisa said, if the state of Florida, it's not like, not even 50%.
Like Florida's
I don't
not
think
on
Disney would be that irresponsible.
Yeah.
Even though they could do it, let's say hypothetically they could do it, but the governor says we still don't want this. So then Disney could push it. But I feel at the same time that would be very
And
irresponsible of them.
As of right now, Florida is not even on a lockdown.
No, we're
certain
not.
counties do have curfews. Our county does not yet.
No.
But certain counties do have curfews. Now, the curfews kind of make no sense to me because it's from like 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. and everything's closed anyway. So I'm not really sure where people would go during that time, like regardless.
Well, some of the grocery stores are open till 10. Not all of them, but some
Yeah,
of
but
them.
that's before that 11 o'clock curfew.
But I mean, like, hey, you get
But
your
yeah,
grocery,
so, like,
get home in that hour.
But regardless, like I know some states are on a complete lockdown right now. Florida is not one of them. Could we potentially get to that
I
point?
think so.
I think we could,
Yeah, I think it's possible.
but we're not there yet. But again, we're still, everyone's still trying to follow the CDC recommendation of groups no more than 10. And so I think that's why a lot of the, beaches now in Florida, they're all starting to close.
You know what this is going back. I just had a random thought. Talking about when we were talking about discounts, just popped in my head. If you guys want the real discount, when Disney like opens things back up all around, and it's okay, go get yourself that Disney cruise.
Oh,
The cruise
yeah.
lines are gonna be the biggest discount.
Any cruise line.
Any
because
cruise line.
they're all
Disney included with that.
They have
oh
all
my God.
halted their departures.
Because they were in a sense, we look at it as the cruises are the ones that
bring in the money.
spread this virus around. I mean, we look at, another cruise had all this. Now they came here
Yeah,
and
like
poured
South
it here.
Florida's a hot spot right
You
now
know?
because that's where the ports are, and yeah, I could see that. I could see it
Because
kind
they're
of
almost
running-
like blaming the cruises.
Yeah.
In somewhat sense.
And I think too, they're gonna kind of run
Someone
it.
said Disney cruise equals goals. And
Yeah.
that could very well be
I might
possible.
actually be able to afford to go.
Yeah, we might be able to.
I think they may even run it at first like sales like they would during hurricane season. Even just for the fact because they need to get people back on the ships and people like we've been talking about even coming to Disney. Are people going to be too afraid? Well, hey, we're going to give you this really good deal to get you on this ship.
I think this deal is going to
They
be...
actually do it.
I think this deal is going to be better than the hurricane season deals.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's going to be
yeah.
way better just because you have people from all over on a cruise and you're like, oh, I got this really good deal. But I don't know, man. I don't know if I want a full cert. You're going to get a lot of this. And Disney knows that. Every cruise line's going to know that.
Every cruise
So
line's
this is going to
do
be
it.
the best time to cruise.
I almost feel like
when it's okay.
I feel like the hurricane prices are going to start right when they're allowed to set sail again, and it's just going to continue until the end of hurricane season.
Yeah, it's just gonna go until they're back up. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just. But yes, I don't think Disney's going to be opening mid-April. I think it's going to take a lot. Could I potentially see the Disney's like in China opening by that point?
Yeah.
Potentially. They've been closed down for a while, like you said earlier.
They're starting to get back to
civilization.
civilization.
Kind of do soft openings in the
They're
Shanghai
slowly
one.
back into civilization. Slowly.
I could potentially see Shanghai reopening the park by mid-April. Not really sure about Hong Kong because I haven't heard anything that they've started soft openings yet. So I think it'll be Shanghai, followed by Hong Kong, followed by Tokyo. And I'm not quite sure because Paris closed the same time the parks here did.
Yeah,
So
they all closed at the same
I
time.
think, the 2 parks here and Paris are just going to open depending on where their coronavirus cases are at in numbers. I could see any 3 of us.
Well,
Euro
is bad.
Euro's bad right now.
Euro's bad. It's Italy mainly.
Italy's bad right
Italy
now.
mainly. They're saying Italy is actually worse than China was.
Oh yeah.
That's what they're saying.
They have worse. They have I think they have more deaths now than China did.
And I don't know if I fully believe that, but I don't know. That's one of those theories. I don't know. I don't know.
Or is it just that they had more cases than China?
I don't know. They're saying there was more fatalities.
Or maybe they were looking at it as percentage.
Maybe.
Because in which case I could see that because China has such a large population compared to anywhere else.
Yeah.
So China may number-wise have more deaths, but percentage-wise Italy may be worse.
And that's
which would
very
make
true.
more sense to me.
That would make
because
more
I
sense.
feel like if Italy had more deaths, right? I don't know. I feel like half the country would have passed away by now.
Yeah.
In Italy. I don't know.
But that could be.
I think it's looking at percentages.
Yeah, looking at the actual numbers.
Yeah.
And
because
just...
but China has billions of people.
But see, when you get the headline, you don't get the headline of the numbers of, oh, there's so many in population in China, so much population in Italy. All you get the headline is Italy surpasses China in deaths. And that's as blunt as they're going to put it, too. But I recommend everybody still look into the facts, look into the numbers, look into the ratios, do simple mathematics, and you can figure this out. And I think Lisa's right on that Italy is only surpassed in percentage because of, their population is not as big as China's.
It's any country compared to China.
Wow, we got really off topic.
I know.
We really did.
But I think it's because I started on the whole. I think the Chinese parks are going to open before us and then followed by Tokyo. And then I could actually potentially see our parks opening before Paris.
I think so.
Depending.
If the Euro area stays the way they are at that peak.
Yeah.
I could,
hoping the annual passes go down. I don't foresee
No, they
that.
won't. They won't go down.
I don't foresee that happening.
Off the subject, Tony, I enjoyed the 26 things to know about you. Love beautiful lake you took. Oh, yeah,
you have to take me there.
Lake Marion.
You have to take me there because I haven't been there. And
yeah, it was awesome.
I didn't even watch the video, so I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. But ever since I did the video, now people have commented that they want 25 facts about you. Oh. So we'll have to do a video about that. And
I need to think of 25 facts about.
There's a couple of other good videos I have coming out. There will be, what's today? Today is Saturday. So Monday and Tuesday, I'm hoping to push out our last 2 actual in-park videos.
Oh, someone said it's 26 facts.
Yeah, because I have OCD. Yeah. I labeled it 25, but my OCD.
But I don't have OCD,
no, you don't
so
have
I could have 11 and not care.
Exactly. But what was I talking about? Oh,
I don't actually know. We keep getting off subject.
Yeah. So today's Saturday. So Monday, Tuesday, I plan on pushing out the last 2 in-park videos that we took
prior to all this.
Like 2 weeks before all this, like
before the
controversy
parks
and everything
that they were
happened.
Closing.
Yeah. One's a Disney one, one's a Universal one. So I hope you guys will like that. And everything else is going to be,
home vlogs,
out walking around, being safe in safe areas.
social distancing.
Just things like that. And I wrote down some ideas that I like.
Should do the one where you do my makeup.
Yeah. maybe that's something Lisa and I talked about where I do Lisa's makeup. And you have to go to work that way.
Are you going to get up early with me?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 5 a.m.
I don't even always wear makeup to work.
No, it
really just depends on how tired I am and if I woke up in enough time to do my makeup.
So maybe it'll be like a live conversation and I'm just sitting here doing your makeup as we're...
You're probably going to end up doing a better job than I do on myself.
Because I used to wear makeup. Eyeliner only. Or what they used to call guy liner. I don't know. But anyways, that was what we think to expect when Disney World finally says they are reopening.
Picture the scene in Friends when Ross does Rachel's makeup.
Oh yeah, that's true. That is true.
I look like a hooker.
I don't know. Um, that's it, guys. That's what we think. And I've been saying to people, and I don't mean it in any disrespect when I said it to them. Like, if you think when Disney reopens, it's going back to 100%, like it never happened, you're out of your mind. These changes, these are things we really have to think about. So times are going to be looking very different in the Disney parks once this all opens for a little while until things
Until
finally
things fizzle out.
and finally go back to normal. I don't see normal, like normal, until, my opinion, maybe December, November, December, the Christmas time, where things are actually back to normal.
But if you think of that, that was around the time when the coronavirus started over in China.
Mhm.
And I hope we don't have a replay of it.
No.
But, I know doctors and scientists are trying to predict what's going to happen because, yeah, Australia's a hot spot. Brazil's starting to get some, but they're coming to the end of their summer and entering into their fall, winter, and we're doing the opposite. Is there just going to be this circle effect where they're going to get it, and then is it somehow going to work its way back up to the north? I don't know. I hope not. I don't want any country to have to continue
No.
to have to go through this.
And this is why I've said to people, I'm looking at two things with the coronavirus. I'm looking at the state of Florida because I have that in my head that if this virus is like any other virus, it doesn't like heat. We're in the spring. I'm hoping that it starts to weaken. I don't know. I'm not a doctor or scientist, but if it's a virus like all the other viruses, that could happen. And then I'm looking at China because they're slowly getting back into civilization. Will the virus be done when they're back? Or are we going to full circle this again?
Yeah, and just
I don't
because
know. Those are what I'm looking at.
and
State of
just
Florida and
because
China.
it initiated in China, that doesn't mean
No.
that if it does go full circle, that it's going to hit China again first. For all we know, it could end up hitting the U.S. first and making its way trickle around. Like, there's no way to tell. I just hope that after this is done, it's done, that we don't have to worry about it, that we don't go through. No one has to experience this again. It's driving me nuts because I'm not a homebody. I hate being at home all the time.
And then if it does full circle, say like next year or something, we'll have a vaccine that
that's true. And hopefully if it does, we'll have that vaccine available.
Because think about all the other viruses, when it first started, they were new. We didn't have vaccines for them. We have them now, but it took a little while.
When we get a flu vaccine every year, maybe this will be the new thing where you can also get a coronavirus vaccine. Because here's the thing, the coronavirus is kind of like the flu, where like each year the flu is different. The coronavirus is the same thing. There's a string of viruses under the umbrella of coronavirus. It just seems like this one just happened to be the worst that we've seen
and
so far.
Hopefully it doesn't mutate into something else, because viruses mutate.
But that's how it does with the flu. And then, the scientists just do their best job at trying to predict how it's going to mutate to then adjust the vaccine to it. I could see that now becoming, you're going to be able to get both a flu shot and a coronavirus shot each year.
Or they'll just have it in one shot. Maybe.
I don't know how that works.
We have the best scientists working, not just in the States, but all over the world. And I think that we're all going to work together globally, these scientists, and we're going to figure it out. And I think it might come down to just one shot that could just, you should be good. Hopefully. It shouldn't have to be like, get your flu, get your corona, get stuck like 7 times.
But that's how it is right now.
You
get your flu, you get your measles, you get your chickenpox, like everything's separated.
I just hope that call it one thing and I don't know if
cocktail shot.
There you go, the cocktail shot.
Yeah, someone said, because someone earlier said maybe Disney can get a lot done in the parks while they are closed.
Construction's going to stop.
It has not, well, at least in the state of Florida, there has not we have not gotten the ruling that construction needs to stop. But I think it could get to that point.
I did see in the state of Florida, it is going to happen. It's just not implemented.
It's a matter of when.
It's not implemented right now.
And so when that happens, Disney's construction needs to stop as well.
But I don't know how that's going to work with Disney's maintenance. They might be able to have the maintenance come into
Maintenance is different.
Refurb the rides.
Electricians are still considered essential workers because they need to keep electric running in these houses that everyone's now quarantined in. They need to keep electric going in the essential buildings of the
I would say
businesses that have to keep running. So maintenance will continue. It's construction that will end up stopping.
Construction will stop, and John Progress will not fall apart. He'll be fixed and fine. He'll
Because
be
that's
doing
a
all right.
refurbish and not a construction.
I'm tired of his arm falling off or not working, or poor John. He had a rough year in 2019. I'm telling you, John Progress. All right, guy, that's gonna be it. That was us talking about what to expect in a realistic sense. So things to think about when you plan your next trip. These things could happen. We won't know until Disney gives the announcement. And
everyone gives an announcement at that point.
yeah, Disney gives, but I think like once Disney gives that announcement, we're gonna look for that detail. Like at least I will. What about the parks?
I'm gonna be looking at the dates.
Yeah.
Am I off work that day? Can I
Right.
manage to change my schedule?
All right, guys, we are out of here. We gotta stop at Lowe's because if we're gonna be quarantined, I'm gonna do some DIY house projects. Ooh, those will be videos. House project videos.
More like just trying to tame our flower bed outside.
And fix the wall that I messed up. We'll talk about that, how Lisa is still unhappy with me that I ruined her hallway.
I think we talked about that in a live already.
We probably have. All right, guys, we will see you next time. Vlog.
Finito.